After enduring some of the roughest tides known to mankind, Skull and Bones has finally emerged from the Davy Jones locker of development, hell. Skull and Bones is an upcoming tactical action role-playing game by Ubisoft Singapore. Similar to its primary source of inspiration, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, the game will adopt a third-person POV and will feature a full-length, single-player campaign, along with the option to play with up to 5 other privateers in its online counterpart. Skull and Bones is one of Ubisoft's most hit-and-miss IPs, as the game itself has undergone nearly a decade of issues, which has been made even worse by Ubisoft forever switching up the game's infrastructure. To date, Ubisoft has forked out around $120 million on its development. Skull and Bones is set in the Indian Ocean during the golden age of piracy. As an up-and-coming pirate captain, you will enroll in the several wonders of the open sea, either alone or with a relatively small crew. Besides this, there is no real story to follow, excluding the one that you and you alone develop for yourself along the way. Skull and Bones is not a narrative-driven game. Game director Ryan Barnard explained to True Achievements, "We have narrative pieces. In the game, you will meet important NPCs called kingpins, which have their own stories that you will learn as you develop rapport with them by taking on contracts with them. There is an underlying story to the game with which we build the entire world lore, but that's not the main focus. We want players to create their own stories and be able to choose the type of pirate they want to be." Unlike Black Flag, it will feature a more hands-on approach with crafting, customization, and shipbuilding. It will also include a multiplayer-based open-world environment, one that allows crews of up to 5 to explore the vast seas and embark on epic voyages for hidden quests and plunder. When it comes to naval combat, Skull and Bones will take a leaf out of Black Flag's book. As such, it will include customizable ships, which will come loaded with usable broadside cannons and other useful tools and resources. At its heart, though, Skull and Bones will be an open-world game without any major narrative points to adhere to. In essence, it's a game without a structure, and one that you, along with your crewmates, will make your own. Development on Skull and Bones first started back in 2013, shortly after the release of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, with which Ubisoft used as a main source of inspiration for the newfound project. Originally envisioned as an expansion for Black Flag, the proposed DLC was to either add to the AC universe or build on it, preferably by turning it into an MMO under the name Black Flag Infinite. Of course, this wasn't the route that Ubisoft Singapore traveled down, and instead the studio opted to establish the foundations for a whole new IP, which later became the concept for Skull and Bones. Since then, the game has undergone countless phases of what most would only describe as development hell, with a rough decade of making several changes to the direction, setting, and overall gameplay. To this day, the game has cost Ubisoft upwards of $120 million to build, which puts it up there with some of the studio's most ambitious video games ever made. Skull and Bones was initially set to release in 2018 before being nudged back to 2019 and then again to 2020. At this point, Ubisoft decided to revamp the world it had already constructed and ultimately follow a new vision. In September of 2022, Ubisoft announced that it still needed more time and that the game would eventually release on February 16, 2024, for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. Skull and Bones will be released in 2 different editions, Standard and Premium. In the continuation of the video, you can see what is included in each version.